There comes a point in life when all a person wants is to feel genuinely alive again. To wake up with energy, curiosity, and an honest joy for connecting with people. Yet sometimes, no matter how much effort you make, that feeling slips away. For me, it began after the long, quiet storm that followed the pandemic. What started as the occasional drink turned into a nightly routine, a way to blur the edges of worry and anxiety that had been building up inside me. Slowly, the scale began to climb. The mirror showed a heavier reflection, and my body started sending signals that something was deeply off. I noticed strange, scattered symptoms. Nails that grew fragile, a chest that burned from acid, difficulty swallowing, and nights that felt like wrestling matches with my own restlessness. By mid-2022, I was done pretending everything was fine. I began tinkering with small changes, more movement, better meals, cleaner habits. My body thanked me for it. But there was still a fog I couldn't shake. I'd sleep, but never feel restored. I'd laugh, but not quite feel it in my chest. There was the stubborn heaviness that clung to everything I did. Then it struck me. There was one thing I had never fully let go of: alcohol. I'd tried diets, fasting, meditation, but never a long break from drinking. Maybe, I thought, that was the missing piece. So, my partner and I decided on an experiment. A simple challenge: 1 month with zero alcohol. November 2022 would be our clean slate. I wondered if giving it up would unlock that old spark, make colors brighter, days longer, nights calmer. Or maybe I'd find out that I had simply built alcohol into my identity and used it as an excuse for all the places in life I wasn't where I wanted to be. Either way, I needed to know. For over 2 decades, alcohol had been woven into my daily rhythm. I never labeled it a problem because I wasn't what people picture when they imagine addiction. I wasn't collapsing on sidewalks or waking up unsure of how I got home. My father was the type to lose himself in the bottle, drunk before noon, loud, unpredictable. I wasn't like that, so I assumed I was safe. My drinking felt controlled. A couple of glasses after work, more on weekends. Sometimes stronger pours than I admitted to myself. If I'm honest, my so-called 2 drinks were probably double that, especially with vodka where I never measured. I'd tell myself it was to unwind after a long day, to reset after stress, or to help me handle the chaos of parenting. But the truth was darker. I had built my adult life around it. Dinners, gatherings, even quiet evenings at home were all anchored to that familiar clink of ice in a glass. And when I imagined life without it, a real unease set in. The thought of never drinking again sent a wave of panic through me. That fear was the first red flag. Why was the idea of sobriety so threatening? Why did a liquid have that much hold over me? The more I sat with that discomfort, the more it scared me. Could this invisible attachment be the reason my sleep was broken, my anxiety constant, my patience thin? It was time to find out. A 30-day reset seemed manageable. To someone else, a month might sound trivial. But for me, a man whose entire adulthood had alcohol threaded into it, it felt monumental. Everything, from celebrations to simple Friday nights, revolved around that drink in hand. Before diving in, we prepared ourselves. We read books about quitting drinking and what happens to the mind and body when alcohol leaves the system. The stories helped us mentally prepare for what was coming. Cravings, mood swings, the awkwardness of social situations without a drink. And then, we started. The first week hit hard. Evenings stretched endlessly. Cravings came like clockwork after sunset. My brain tried to bargain. Just one glass, it whispered. I stayed strong, but I was restless, irritated, unsure what to do with my hands once the usual drink wasn't there. But waking up clear-headed on Saturday and Sunday was something new. No pounding head, no dry mouth, no shame. I began to feel a small sense of victory. By week 2, the cravings hadn't gone away. In fact, they were louder. My partner and I even tried non-alcoholic substitutes, fake beer, mock wine, hoping to trick our brains. They tasted terrible, but at least they gave us something to hold. The fatigue lingered, but something subtle shifted. Our arguments began to fade. The tension that used to bubble up during late-night drinks disappeared. Our evenings were quiet, maybe even dull, but peaceful. Week 3 brought clarity I hadn't expected. I still thought about drinking every day, but my mind was less chaotic. I found myself being more present. When my kids wanted to play, I didn't sigh or delay. I joined in. One Saturday night, instead of reaching for a bottle, we went swimming. It was simple, pure, and felt right. I was starting to understand that fun wasn't hiding inside a drink. It had been waiting under the haze all along. Then came week 4, and it felt like a new body had moved in. My acid reflux vanished, my sleep deepened, and my patience, once a thin wire ready to snap, thickened into calm. I could handle stress like never before. Instead of chasing a drink as a reward, I started feeling proud every time I didn't cave. My brain released its own little reward, endorphins, every time I chose tea over vodka. Tea. Me. Who would have guessed? When the month ended, I felt strong but nervous. Breaking the streak felt risky, but curiosity won. We had 2 drinks to celebrate. The taste was bitter, metallic, empty. My brain clouded within minutes. The next morning, I woke up groggy, craving the sharpness I'd had before. It was like tasting poison after learning what clean water feels like. A week later, we went out with old friends, the same group we used to party with. This time, we stayed sober. And to my surprise, it was still fun. Better, actually. No sluggishness, no foggy memory, just laughter that felt genuine. Waking up the next day without regret felt like discovering a secret. As December rolled in, I realized something had permanently changed. I started devouring books, practicing mindfulness, and rediscovering interests I used to ignore. My social energy bloomed. Instead of hiding from calls or avoiding plans, I found myself reaching out to people, craving real conversations. Without alcohol, I wasn't escaping life anymore. I was living it. My mood lifted, my curiosity returned, and the world felt new again. By the end of the month, I wasn't scared of missing out anymore. I didn't even want to buy alcohol for the house. If someone brought a bottle over, fine. But I no longer needed it. That shift from dependence to disinterest was the most freeing thing I've ever experienced. It didn't happen overnight. It took the whole month and beyond. But when it finally clicked, I felt genuinely alive. Maybe for the first time in years. The deeper I went into sobriety, the more I realized how blind I had been for so long. Alcohol had disguised itself as comfort, as connection, as celebration. But all it ever really did was mute life's clarity. When the fog lifted, I began to see how much it had taken from me, without ever asking permission. Sleep had been the first victim. For years, I thought I was resting. Yet I was merely passing out, my body working overtime to clean my blood, while my brain stayed half awake. Once alcohol was gone, real rest began to return. The kind that wraps around you like a calm tide instead of dragging you under. Something strange happened when my mind started to heal. I began noticing beauty again. The smallest things hit differently. Morning light spilling across the floor, the taste of food, the warmth of my children's laughter. Everything felt raw, vibrant, untouched. I wasn't chasing stimulation anymore. I was simply present. Before, I'd need a drink to enhance a good moment. Now, every moment stood strong on its own. It made me realize how alcohol had tricked me into believing joy needed a chemical boost. My partner and I decided not to make any hard rules. We didn't swear off drinking forever or declare a crusade against it. We just agreed to stop buying it, to stop making it part of the daily rhythm. If a friend brought some over or we were out for dinner, fine. But we no longer lived for it. That mental shift was the true victory. Not quitting alcohol, but no longer needing it to feel whole. By mid-December, a lightness settled over my days. My mind no longer ran in circles of regret or restlessness. I was thinking clearly again, reading more, learning for the sake of curiosity rather than distraction. Meditation stopped feeling like a chore and started feeling like coming home. My focus deepened. My energy spread evenly through the day instead of crashing in waves. And conversations, real, honest conversations, felt richer than they had in years. One of the strangest things was how social I suddenly became. I used to avoid people, make excuses to skip hangouts, convince myself I needed alone time. In truth, I was hiding behind the haze. Alcohol made me quiet in spirit, dull in connection. But as my mind cleared, I started craving human contact again. Not small talk, but genuine moments. I'd call friends for no reason other than to talk. I'd strike up conversations with strangers. I felt like I'd been underwater for decades and was finally breathing again. And with every new day came a growing sense of gratitude. My skin looked clearer. My digestion felt calm. The tension in my shoulders eased. Even my patience, something I used to struggle with daily, became natural. Little annoyances that once sent me into a spiral barely registered. My stress response had reset. I was no longer burning energy fighting myself. The biggest revelation came when I realized that fun didn't vanish with alcohol. It expanded. The nights I once filled with noise and numbness were replaced by mornings filled with clarity and creativity. I could take the kids out, plan something spontaneous, and actually have energy to enjoy it. The joy wasn't louder, but it was deeper, like switching from static to high definition. The more I reflected on it, the more obvious it became that alcohol wasn't just slowing me down. It was rewiring my life around avoidance. Avoiding discomfort, avoiding silence, avoiding feeling too much. When I stopped, I was forced to face everything I'd buried. My stress, my exhaustion, my anxiety. But instead of breaking me, it freed me. I realized how capable I actually was when I didn't reach for a drink to fix every emotion. What shocked me most was how long it took for the benefits to truly bloom. It wasn't within a week or even 30 days. It was around the 5th and 6th week that something inside clicked. The fog lifted completely. My optimism came back. My thoughts were sharper. I didn't just feel good. I felt grounded, something I hadn't experienced since childhood. It's strange how addiction hides itself behind routine, convincing you that you're fine until you remember what fine really feels like. When I compared my life before and after, the difference was staggering. Without alcohol, I was sleeping like a human again. Falling asleep naturally felt like a miracle. For years, I couldn't do it. I'd rely on podcasts, videos, endless scrolling. anything to distract my mind long enough to drift off. But a few weeks into sobriety, my body began rediscovering rhythm. My eyes would grow heavy while reading, and I'd wake up refreshed. That sense of natural rest was worth more than any buzz I'd ever chased. Another unexpected change was the emotional calm that followed. I'd battled anxiety for years, but never realized how much drinking was fueling it. Alcohol promised relaxation, but delivered the opposite. It magnified fear and tension once it wore off. After quitting, I noticed my thoughts quieting down. The background noise in my head faded. My mood steadied in ways no supplement or diet had ever managed. Physically, too, things began to shift. My metabolism kicked back into gear. Within a couple of months, I dropped around 5 pounds effortlessly, even without adjusting my exercise. My face looked less puffy, my stomach flatter, my energy steadier. My body was finally using its energy for healing instead of detoxing poison every night. And the money. I couldn't believe how much of our income had been vanishing into bottles and cans. $400 a month easily. That's nearly $5,000 a year. Money we didn't even notice slipping away. Realizing that made me feel foolish, but also liberated. Because now, that money stayed with us. It went into experiences, not escapes. When I put all of it together, better sleep, balanced mood, stronger relationships, more energy, and savings, I understood that this experiment wasn't just about health. It was about freedom. Alcohol had quietly dictated my habits, emotions, and identity for 2 decades. Taking it away didn't make life dull. It gave me life back. And maybe that's what makes this journey so powerful. It wasn't about becoming a different person. It was about remembering who I was before the haze. The laughter that wasn't forced, the joy that didn't need a drink, the confidence that didn't depend on a buzz. I'm not here to preach or to tell anyone what to do. Everyone's relationship with alcohol is their own. But I will say this: testing life without it changed everything for me. What started as a 30-day challenge turned into a permanent shift in how I see myself and the world. It reconnected me with what truly matters: health, presence, and genuine peace of mind. Now, when I sit down at night, I don't crave a drink. I crave stillness. I crave honesty. I crave that clear, focused version of myself that no longer hides behind distraction. Life feels fuller. Slower, maybe, but beautifully real. I'm not chasing anything anymore. I'm living. And that's the part I never expected. How much joy there is in simplicity once you clear the fog. The small things become enormous. The quiet moments glow. And every breath feels like proof that you can rebuild yourself from the inside out. One sober day at a time.